How's it going, everybody? In this video we're going to look at getting VMware vCenter up and running. So I've got already got the source files ready to go, so it's just a matter of double clicking on it and we will get this kicked off. Scroll down here just a bit and click on here. And I have to give myself the okay to do this. And so we should get the pop-up, and here is the VMware vSphere 5.5 install. So it's pretty straightforward. What we're going to do is you can either do a simple install and let it run through everything individually or all at one time. I'm going to do it one at a time so we can I'll be in charge of it. So right now, single sign-on. There's no prerequisites for this to happen, so we're just going to go ahead and click install. It does take a couple of minutes for things to get started, and I'm doing this one at a time so that I can control when things get installed instead of here trying to guess when things are going to happen. So pause the video while this is still working. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the install. We're going to click on next, accept the license term, click next, and these are the prerequisites that need to have happen. We need to be in a domain. We need to have an IP address. FQDN is this guy. The host name is vCenter, and DNS resolution is successful. That's why I ran through that Windows domain configuration before, so that we would already be through this part and we'll already be good to go. So I'm also, the way that I've got this built is built in Workstation so that anybody can follow along with this. So click on next. And we're going to do a single sign-on for your first vCenter server. And we're going to enter the password for this. And click next. And we're going to name this, is going to be vCenter. Click next. But no, actually, let's not do that. We're going to do we'll do Milwaukee because that's the closest city to me. Next, HTTPS port, that's fine. I'm going to leave all these as the defaults. Next, that's where it'll get installed. Next, and then install. So it's going to be new install, configured as first server in domain. Domain name is vSphere.local. The port number, site name is Milwaukee. Look up services installed and configured new. Install. So then it goes inside and starts installing all the pieces to it that it needs to. I'm going to pause the video while this is going through because you guys probably don't want to watch this. Okay, so this is done being installed. So we can click finish there. We're going to come over here to the web client. And the prerequisite is a single sign-on. So you have to do them in order. I'm going to click install, give that a second to fire up, click OK for English, and the new vCenter is ran from a web client. They're actually migrating away from the vSphere type of command control center. So as you'll see more and more as we get into this, at the same time that I'm teaching this, I'm also reading the book and following along with videos and stuff like that. This just helps me reinforce my understanding. So I'm going to pause the video while this installs, and when we get to the actual configuration where we have to input information and things like that, I'll stop the video and pause it or play it so you guys can see how everything goes. Okay, it looks like that is good to go. So then we're going to click on the inventory service, click install on that. Okay. And again, it goes pretty quick, but I think it was only like a minute for that to install. So for the web client. And it's pretty much pretty much the extent of all the install parts. So I'm gonna pause the video until I get to a configuration part. Actually, looks like we're gonna. Maybe I jumped the gun. Oh, there we go. Next. 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 These are the ports that we need. Next. Okay, here's where we single sign on for the password for getting onto. So our vSphere or the vCenter web client, the administrator information. So it's administrator at vSphere.local. We're going to type in the password that we've been using for everything. You can type in whatever password you'd like. Click next. So I was wrong about the amount of time it takes for this. We're in the process of configuring it now. And I have the other window down here ready to go. So I'll pause the video while this the SSL SHA-1 fingerprint, when you're installing this, trying to remember here, there's a way to take this number right here and authenticate it against output from something else. I forget what it was, but we know it's right, so we'll just click yes. And it does its thing, and any moment now we should be okay to go. I'll pause the video until we get more information coming up. Alright, so it wants to install the certificate for the secure connection. So we have the modulus, and we have the SHA-1 keys and all other good stuff that goes along with it. And things like that. So we're going to click install certificates and click install. I'll pause the video, and when more information pops up, we'll go from there. Okay, we're finished with the web client installation, which is good. And we're going to click finish. And so it says the vSphere client or vSphere web client has been installed successfully. Allow a few minutes for all services to load before accessing the vSphere web client for the first time. We're going to click OK. And the inventory service is next in line, and it's ready to go. So we're going to click on next. Agree to the license agreement. Next. And that's going to be the FQDN. So if we were to click on the domain controller, we should have a way to resolve this. Let's just double check real quick, because that's the important part. That's why I went through the trouble of setting up the domain controller and the domain and things like that, getting everything installed first, so that when we came to the actual install of vCenter server and its associated files and folders and things like that, that we wouldn't have a problem getting things working. So it's on. For some reason it's taking its sweet old time. Okay, so we're going to click on next for this. These are the ports that it's going to associate to. So the HTTPS port, the management port, and then the linked mode communication port. This is for if you're going to use multiple vCenter servers and you want to keep them all synced together. Next. Now, this is a little bit different than what you would see in vSphere 5 or vCenter 5. Is the amount of hosts, the memory went up a bit. So we're going to have less than 100 hosts or 1,000 virtual machines, so we don't have to do anything crazy with that. We're going to click next, and we're going to configure the SSO sign-on and continue on. And it wants us to validate the SSL SHA-1 fingerprint, so we're going to click yes because it's right, and we'll move into the next part here as soon as it's done loading. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and install from here, and it's going to do its thing, which should be doing everything it needs to do. Actually, let's scroll this over. That's what I was looking for. There we go. So cool. So it's going to install. I'll pause the video while it does that. Alright, as you can see, the install wizard completed. Everything looks good. We're going to click on Finish. And the last thing we have to install is the vCenter server itself. So all this has just been things that we can use to work with vCenter server. So we're going to click on this. So single sign-on and inventory service have to be installed. So this guy and this guy. We're going to click on Install. Click OK. And then it's going to start doing its thing. And I will pause the video. I want to take a quick snippet from the PDF that I downloaded for vSphere 5.5. This is directly out of the book, and regarding the vSphere web client and vSphere client, it says that vCenter provides a central management framework for VMware ESXi hosts. But its vSphere web client and its predecessor, the Windows-based vSphere client, and where vSphere administrators spend most of their time, in vSphere 5 and all newer releases, they have shifted its primary administrative interface to the robust web client rather than having the Windows-based vCenter or vSphere client on their computer. So normally you would have vCenter would be installed, and you would use an ESX or a vSphere-like client to log into your vCenter server. Well, they're taking that away and moving it to a web-based application, so that you don't have to download and install something locally to your machine. So, I wanted to point that out to you. So the next thing we have here is it's ready to get installed. So we're going to click Next, accept the license agreement, Next. And we're not going to install a license key, so we'll have evaluation mode. Click Next. Now, two things. You could either install Microsoft SQL Server 2008 Express for up to 5 hosts or 50 virtual machines, or you can use an existing supported database. So the only thing is you'd have to enter one that supports a 64-bit DSN or data source name. We're going to go with the SQL Server instance. We're going to click on Next. And we're going to use Windows local system account to log in. So since we're already configured as that, we don't have to worry about doing anything. Now we could do this, and we could enter the password, which is going to be the identical thing. I'm going to click on this and click Next, even though this is the same password as my Windows local system account. Click Next. Standalone vCenter server instance. All the ports that are going to be associated with it. Now, there's this thing called ephemeral ports. This option prevents the pool of available ephemeral ports from being exhausted if vCenter server powers on more than 2,000 virtual machines simultaneously on a host. So if you think that your ports are going to get wasted, click this. If not, don't worry about it. I've never seen anywhere near that many virtual machines on a host. I think the most I've ever seen is 250, but the possibility is there. Next. Same thing with before with the inventory size. And we're going to give it the password. And next. I like to keep everything consistent. It's easier to keep track of passwords that way. And as soon as it's done doing its thing, give it a couple more seconds here. So what I'll do is I will pause. Oh, there it goes. Yes. And then it should go through the instance. It's going to take a while because it's actually going to install SQL Server in addition to vCenter. And then once it's all said and done, I will show you how to go about it from there. So pause the video until this is ready. Okay, so it's saying that vCenter administrator recognized by vCenter single sign-on with this password. which is good. Next. So now we have the port number that we would actually log in for our inventory service. Next. This is the file that it's going to get installed in, and we'll click next there and install. So after a couple seconds here, it'll kick off and install the vCenter server itself, which will take quite a while. So probably a good 10-15 minutes, maybe even longer with the resources I have allocated to this device. So I'll pause the video until I see something pop up, and I'll come back to you. Alright, it's starting to install, and be back in a few. Well, after I think about 25 minutes or so, I've finally finished installing. It's a big chunk of material to get installed and things like that. So click finish here, and that is all we need to do. Or is it? Let me see. I still have this pulled up, so if I need to install the vSphere client, I can. If not, I think I should be okay if I go to All Programs and go to VMware. I go to vSphere Web Client, and I click on Web Client. It should hopefully open it. Proceed anyway. And it looks like we're going to be okay. It's installing, or it's opening right now. And hopefully here in a moment we will be good to go. And this is how the new vCenter will work. So as soon as I get the remote desktop capability of, okay, and then here we go, so we're going to type in administrator, and then the administrator password. You also may notice it says use Windows Session Authentication. We could do that. I'm going to click login this way for the first time and see what happens. So we should be able to authenticate. And hopefully everything works out initializing. Okay, so we authenticated, we're initializing, so everything should work. And it looks like it will. And momentarily we should be good to go. So that's what it'll look like. And let me scroll up just a little bit here. So I'm using Google Chrome. I don't like Internet Explorer. Just a personal preference of mine. So let's go full screen with this. And obviously I'm on a limited screen right here, but I will figure out a way to remote desktop. Actually, hang on one second. Let me see if I can try to do that. Okay, well I can't do it from the computer I'm on because this computer isn't set up to do it. So if you right click on computer, go to properties, then you click on remote settings, and we have to type in the administrator password, and then we'll click on allow remote connections, click OK, and apply and OK. So what I will do from the computer that I'm on is, let me scroll to the right over here just a little bit, scroll up, and I will minimize workstation and close this out. Let me scroll over here and go start, and if you type in here MSTSC, it brings that up, so I will type in 192.168.48.131, click connect, and then we're going to type in administrator and the password, and click OK. We're going to click yes, and it'll take a second for it to pull it, but once it does, now this is actually kind of odd because we're going to be doing a remote desktop inside of a remote desktop. So to put it in perspective for you, I have a remote desktop session right here. This one right here is connected physically to the VMware server, so my Dell server. I have Server 2008 R2 installed on it. I installed VMware Workstation on that same server, and I have VMware ESXi installed inside of that. So we had to remote to the server, and then we're able to remote into that server from here. So it looks like in there it's coming up, and so we're inside of this guy. And so if we were to click close on that guy and go start all programs and go VMware and go down to vSphere Web Client and click on Web Client, it would add the snap into the console. It'll take a moment for this to happen. Scroll up just a little bit here. I'm going to have to resize this Windows Internet Explorer. Yes, click OK. Thank you, Internet Explorer. And we're going to close Server Manager out because we don't need it running. We're going to continue this website. Click OK. We're going to add this. Add, close. See, this is why I don't like this. So we're going to do this. We're going to go to Start. We're going to go to Control Panel. And from here, we're going to go to, is it Application, System and Security? I'm trying to remember where it is. There's a way to no, that's not it. I want Windows Firewall, no, Device Manager, Administrator Tools. To remember where it is. It's in here somewhere. Programs. Default programs. So we're going to say associate a file type or program. So it's going to load this up. I want Google Chrome to pull it, so we're going to say, let's see if it's got VMware in here. I'm not sure if it will or not. I might have to go to the actual. It doesn't look like it's going to have it in the default. Set your default programs, and I want to make Chrome my default web browser. And we're going to say Chrome set as this is the default program. Click OK. And now when we click on that again, go to Start, All Programs, VMware, Web Client, and then Web Client, it should pull Google Chrome up instead. And it did. We're going to proceed anyway. This down, blow it all the way up. I like that because I don't have to go out and try to install Java or anything like that. And it's installing, or it's initializing, I should say. And so what it's going to do, it's going to have us come here. And for kicks and giggles, I'm going to click on here. Oh, it doesn't even have that option. So administrator, and then I'm going to type in my password and click login. It should allow me to authenticate. Provided credentials are not valid. Alright. ADMINIST. Yeah, that's right. It might be because I'm already on here. I'm already authenticated. So let's minimize this guy. Come down here, and we're gonna pull this guy. Yeah, because I bet you any money because we're already authenticated here. We're going to go. This guy. We're gonna go log out. Close this. We're going to scroll back up and over. Minimize this. Just come back down to this guy. Click on him again. Bring it up. And try this one more time. Click login. Alright, so something's up with this. I don't know why. We're on the right box. Right. Administrator, computer, properties. I'm on the domain. So why is it not working? ADMINISTRATOR. Oh. Maybe that's why. I think I just realized I noticed the cap locks were on. ADMINISTRATOR, and then figured it out. Caps lock. Some of the most silly things in the world will get you. Alright, so this is the full screen version of it. We are installed and everything's working the way it should be. So now we'd be able to go to vCenter and we could start doing things like adding vCenter servers, adding hosts, things of that nature. So I just wanted to show you guys how this would actually work and getting everything working. vCenter home. So to get started, select an inventory item on the left, and so we're gonna do vCenter servers, and to create a data center, first select the vCenter server for the data center. At this point, right now I don't know where else to go, so I will have to add things to this, and there's no way to right click on anything. I'm used to being able to right click on stuff and go wherever I need to go. So from there, I think if it's grayed out you can't do anything with it. Virtual machines. I'm not really sure what to do here. So anyway, instead of sitting here trying to figure it out and poke around, I just want to show you guys how to do that and get everything installed. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line. I hope this has been informative for you. I want to thank you for viewing.